Hello everyone, welcome to this chapter of Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP. In this chapter, we will be discussing what is ERP and how it evolved and what are the basic components of an ERP in the organization and what things needs to be considered. So first from definitions, we will go through the definitions to understand what ERP is basically. It is a cross-functional enterprise system driven by an integrated suite of software modules that supports the basic internal processes of an organization or a company. The practice of consolidating an enterprise planning, manufacturing, sales, marketing efforts into one management system. It combines all database across departments into a single database that can be accessed by all the users or the employees. ERP automates the tasks involved in performing a business process. So after basic information about the ERP and understanding, this is ERP example that includes database managed by each department individually or separately. So we can say it is a decentralized ERP system right now existing in the organization. A typical enterprise has many departments, or we call it business units. These departments basically or business units continuously communicate and exchange data with each other through ERP. The success of any organization lies in the effective communication and of course data exchange within the department or business units, as well as associated third party such as vendors, outsourcers, and customers. That is, all the data is being managed here. Also known as a decentralized system that I talked about earlier. The problems with the decentralized system, however, are numerous. Disparate information systems are developed individually over the time. Each department would be managing their own database management system, and they might end up with compiling unnecessary information or unnecessary files which could be accumulated, and integrating the database becomes time and money consuming as well. Inconsistencies and duplication of data may occur, and high inventory, material and human resources costs might also be incurred. Of course, if every department is maintaining their own database system separately, and so therefore the upper management does not know exactly what is going on, and whenever they need consolidated information, so they might be having trouble with the human resource, or maybe they may be facing time limits and might fail to meet the deadlines to consolidate the information. Of course, ERP can be functioning here, but these could be the problems if we do not integrate each department in a single unit. Now here is an example of centralized ERP system. As we can see, it is quite neat, clean and understandable, and the database at center is maintained, managed and accessed by every department individually, and every department is dealing with customers or the accounts information. Everybody is doing their work and maintaining it on a centralized database management system, and of course the management would be quite informed about what is going on within the organization and may take good decisions based on this one. So centralized systems might observe data maintained at a central location, of course, and shared with the various departments. Departments have access information data of others departments and department business units. So all the departments are integrated and information is gathered same place. It eliminates duplication, discontinuity and redundancy in data. Of course, it will save the time, provides information across the departments in real time, provides control over various business processes and decision making, increases productivity better, inventory management promotes quality, reduces material costs and boosts profit, and better customers interaction, satisfaction and increase throughout improves the processes and services provided to the customer. So these are the basic ERP application components, which includes the customer relationship manager. Of course, customers are the key elements, finance, manufacturing and human resource management, and the supply chain. Now we will be discussing the ERP components. In financial, of course, finance is very lifeblood of any organization. At the core of ERP are the financial modules, including general ledger, accounts and receivable accounts, bills and fixed assets management is done here. If your organization is considering the move to move an ERP system to support expansion its global market, maybe make sure that multiple currency languages and are supported, as well as regulatory compliance in the US and in foreign currencies. If your organization is going global in that time, otherwise the functionality would be limited to the financial management of that particular organization within that local context. Other functionality of financial management modules will include budget, cash flows, expenses, and other all tax reporting, and the other things that are included in the financial management system. We talk about business intelligence. This is the business intelligence has become a standard component of ERP packages. In general, business intelligence tools allow users to share and analyze data collected across the enterprise and centralized in the ERP database. Business intelligence basically can come in the form of dashboards, automated reports, analyzing tools used to monitor the organization's business performance. It supports the informed decision making by everyone from the executive to the line managers and accountants, wherever they might need the business intelligence, or wherever the decision making is being taken into consideration at any level of organization. Supply chain management, of course, is a very typical component of ERP, sometimes referred to as the logistics. Improves the flow of materials, inventory, and of an organization by managing planning, scheduling, procurement, maximize the customer satisfaction, and of course the profitability. Submodules might include scheduling, demand management, distribution management, inventory management, warehousing, where the inventory should be stored, procurement and order management of what customers want, how to deliver them, and all these things are included in this thing. Now the ERP components include human resource management, of course. Human resource management ERP modules should enhance the employee's experience from initial recruitment to time tracking. A submodule can also be including the payroll, performance management, time tracking, benefits, compensation, and workforce planning. Self-service tools that allow managers and employees to enter time and attendance, choose benefits, and manage PTO are available in many ERP solutions. Of course, the ERP do not come up with missing some components which are important in the organization. Human resource management is basically the key element in the organization in terms of using the ERP software, entering the data, manipulating the data, getting their personal information in the system, and at a central database management system. Now the ERP components also includes manufacturing operations. Of course, modules makes manufacturing operations more efficient for production, configuration, job costing, and bill of materials management. ERP manufacturing modules often include capacity requirements, planning, materials requirements, planning and forecasting, master production scheduling, or work order management, and shop floor control. All would be all the many operational things would be handled in this particular component. Since we are talking about different departments, as we realize that these could be ERP could work as independent segments, or they can be centralized at one place. So centralization needs integration, and integration is the key value of an ERP package. The integration between modules is necessary so that all of the core business functions are connected. If we talk about centralized, information should flow across organizations so that the business information or business intelligence reports of an organization are separated and spread throughout the organization. So now we will be moving on how ERP evolved. Inventory management control introduced in the 60s, appropriate to maintain the appropriate level of stock and warehouse activities. Inventory management, including identifying inventory requirements and all the techniques involved in that inventory management. Later on in 70s, it changed to MRP, material requirement planning, in which it utilizes softwares to some extent for scheduling production processes. It generated schedules for operations and raw materials purchased and production requirements for finished goods and the structure of production system, and to maintain the current inventory levels. Later on in 80s, however, it evolved further and utilized software applications for coordinating manufacturing process within the department of manufacturing and inventory control. However, other departments were separated, and it was controlling only the inventory control to production and distribution and all these things. Later on, it evolved further in the 90s, and it used multi-module application software for improving the performance of internal business units differently. ERP systems often integrated business activities across the functional departments from product planning, parts of purchasing, inventory control, fulfillment of order tracking. All these were included in one software package. And systems, the ERP software systems may include application modules for supporting marketing, finance, accounting, and human resource, as we discussed. So let's talk about the costs of ERP. However, the implementation of ERP must be considered very carefully, and all the application processes, manufacturing, and all the purchasing, training and development must be considered before we implement ERP or we take a decision to implement in ERP. So let's talk about the costs of ERP. High-level summary costs of three different on-premise scenarios could be, if in these scenarios we can see clearly, the more functionality we add in, the more cost it will take to fulfill that requirement. ERP project and time, the real transformational ERP efforts will usually run between 1 to 3 years on average, or if the planning is short, so these could go only to 3 to 6 months. The important thing is not to focus on how long it will take, but understand why we need ERP, as indicated earlier, that it is quite costly and time-consuming process. It's technologically very heavy and sometimes it's stressful for an organization to cover this project. Meanwhile, working and operating on regular basis, routine tasks are being done. So therefore, it should be considered very careful. Training costs may include training of employees, integrating and testing, of course, pilot testing and before going live. Data conversion, data analysis, consultation, and replacing the best and brightest staff after implementation. Implementation teams can never stop at one place, and waiting for return on investment is quite a big thing to consider. Benefits of ERP, of course, improves integration. Fewer errors are being taken into consideration or might be faced by the organization or management. Improved speed and efficiency, more complete information is available. Lower costs to complete supply chain once it is implemented and it starts functioning. Shortened throughput times and sustained involvement and commitment of the top management is required, and it improves the decision making as well. Reduces the stock to the minimum, enlarges production assortment, improves productivity, quality, provides more reliable deliverable dates, and efficiency, coordinates global demand and supply production. From the implementation perspective, it's the biggest IT project that most enterprises might handle in their lifetime. Changes the entire company. Repercussions in all departments and divisions of the organization will be faced. It is essential that all the key players understand the scope of the project. Basically, it is an IT-related project rather than just human resource-related project or finance or other components. Implementation phase might include the concepts initiation, that is why we need it, how we need it, and what would be the requirements, and then develop the needs analysis that we have discussed in later chapters, and implementation, of course, and the closeout operation or the maintenance of ERP once it is implemented. Risks might, of course, include are obvious. It could be expensive, time-consuming, greater risk for the organization in terms of employees might be laid off. Transfer of knowledge is important when we are implementing it, except the acceptance within the company is also very important. Causes of ERP failure, which is the business managers and IT professionals underestimate the complexity of the planning, development, and training which was needed earlier. Failure might also might also be affected in terms that the employees that are directly linked or affected by the implementation of ERP might be excluded. Trying to do too much too fast and conversion the processes, that is, you might miss some important data from manual to going digital and integrating it with a whole database might also be main factors of failure. Failure to do enough data conversion and testing, of course. So let's conclude what are the benefits and the costs. Of course, the benefits include the proper selection and implementation of ERP quite be very significant, such as the 25% to 30% reduced inventory cost and raw material cost 25%. It increases the lead time for customer production time and production cost, and can be these times can be reduced and these lagging can be reduced. But the cost of implementing can be quite high, and risks are of course greater if once the ERP project implemented and it goes to fail. So best practices to implement are the change management, or through the extensive education and training of the employees. Data cleanup and data integrity must be maintained. Implementation is viewed as an ongoing process, so that once it is implemented with the time, all the technology or the external factors that brings the changes in organization must also be included in the ERP system of that particular organization. So these are the basic implementation practices that are best known in the corporate sector, and these are the factors that are given in detail. Change management might include business procedure, responsibilities must and workloads would be changed as a result. ERP implementation are times of high stress, long hours, and uncertainty. At middle level, managers must facilitate continual feedback, provide honest answers, and resolve their problems. Extensive education and training, of course, required for the employees in general terms, and maximum amount of end users training is also required before we implement. Follow-up of training must also be included. 10 to 15% of total ERP implementation budget for training will give an organization an 80% chance of a successful implementation, otherwise would cause a failure. Data cleanup and data integrity means clean up the data before cut over. Near enough is no longer good enough. No command, trust and data. The data in the system must be sufficiently available and accurate. Eliminate the old system, including all informal systems, must be taken into consideration, and the implementation of the new one should be taken into stepwise or go live directly or through the pilot project. So these are the implementation practices which are discussed in later chapter in detail. Further, implementation is viewed as an ongoing process. It is not a one-time process. Main ERP vendors available in the market are these. And so this brings us to the end of this chapter. Thank you for joining in.